Ooh, okay. Looks like an RX-7 with a Valside kit, a bag truck on the ground. All right, gas station vibes. Cars rolling in for Gat, aka Slammedenuff, Sayersville. Like a McLaren pulled up. There's an RX-7 again with the Valside kit. So looks pretty calm. Doesn't look like any issues. It's a cute little sign. Engagement is super important at
A
events.
few moments later.
Now, at some point, things kind of start to go up a bit. We've got this clip here. Way too many people at this gas station. I can tell you this is a problem. The police are looking at it as a problem. There's just no way for this many people to get away safely if something happens. Of course, the cameras come out. Everybody's egging somebody to go do something they shouldn't. You've got two-stepping. There's a time and place. So, of course, everybody's recording. Everybody's kind of hyping everything up. And you got to ask yourself, at what point does this kind of need to be kept in check? So everybody's vibing, here we go. Somebody's doing a burnout on a bike. Again, another unsafe situation. Everybody's got their phones out. Everybody's trying to capture that 15-second clip they might watch twice more after they've recorded it. Now we've got a fight. And who knows what they're fighting about? Pretty sure it's nothing important. Uh, you know, AMG, shooting flames. Again, not the safest way to do this. Egging a car on to do something they shouldn't be doing. These are kind of the things that are the precursors for something getting out of control. Now, you got to ask yourself, who's going to say something? Who's going to look to make sure things don't get out of control? We already saw a fight. Now the cops are involved. Now the cops are going after somebody. Who knows what happened? Someone's in handcuffs. The reality is things like this put a huge stress on resources in the community. Everyone's kind of looking at it as, oh, we're just chilling, we're just vibing. If something goes south, all these people are not going to get away safely. Someone's going to get trampled. It's going to become a huge mess. If I was a betting man, I would put money on the fact that maybe 30% of the people that are out there right now did not have tickets to Sayersville Slammedenuff. I can guarantee you that. Everybody wants to come see the train wreck in the quote-unquote namesake of the car community, but things are getting ready to kind of get out of hand. Again, we've seen some of it. Let's look at this clip here. Again, you now have people standing on top of what looks like maybe the ice machines. Someone's managed to get on top of the roof. I've been at car meets where people get on roofs. I don't know why you're doing that. It's not the best idea. Here we've got a bike revving. Let's see. Now the cops had enough. Shut things down. Not sure the exact reason. I've heard some stories behind the reason, but you would think these kids would go home. No. Where are your parents? Like, why? Like, it is what it is. So that happened. Police response. The sheriffs are out there, which means they got beyond control for the local PD. You've got an undercover there. This is a lot of police resources. That's a SWAT vehicle there. A helicopter was dispatched. What did you guys think was going to happen? You've got people dancing on top of gas pumps. What if that would have got damaged? It definitely looks like the top of that gas tank is getting damaged. So now you got property damage involved, and we're all just recording the shit show. Why? Why everybody's arm is up, recording. No one at any point in time using any discernment to say, hey, maybe this isn't a good idea. I see one Sayreville Slammedenuff hoodie, meaning that person maybe attended the show. The rest of them, highly doubt they attended the show. Highly, highly doubt they attended the show. So now you got to ask yourself, where do you go from here? As you have situations like this happen. Now, mind you, Slammedenuff had been moved previously because of similar situations where it had gotten out of control and they no longer wanted people coming out to Gatlinburg, so it was moved to Sayersville. What just I can't imagine this kid climbing the building. I don't know why you're doing that, bro. Like it doesn't make any sense. Now, if he would have fell and cracked his head open, I'm sure his parents would have been looking to sue. There's just a lot of stuff that's going on that just doesn't make any sense as to why any of this happened. So, from the clips, you can see some of the things that took place over the weekend down in Sayersville in Tennessee. Now, there's a lot of conversations happening right now. There are a lot of people in the car community who are like, the takeover kids, we're not a part of car culture, which I agree with. But now there's other things that are being said where, oh, we need to gatekeep to keep things like this from happening. We need to, you know, find a way so that this doesn't happen. And when I look at stuff like this that happens, I think and ask myself, what did you do to prevent this from happening? And a lot of times when trying to host a car meet, someone will say, well, how many people do you expect? And there's never a real answer to that. There's no way to say, oh, hey, we're hosting a car meet at this gas station and there will be 300 people. I don't think anyone imagined that what happened this weekend was going to happen. Some of you who may be familiar with Ocean City, Maryland, and H2O, what happened there and how it just got so out of control on site. Police were literally impounding cars. Um, what you saw happen there could be what happens now if they return to Sayersville. You have a lot of money on the line. There are vendors who paid for transportation, booths, just a lot of money has been lost in the outcome of something like this happening. And while some of you may not care, the bigger picture is the people who did lose money, the people who live in that community will have something to say and their voice will be heard whether you like it or not. Now, first things first, am I someone that feels that social media is the cause of this? Not inherently. While social media plays a part in the word spreading as far as it does, you are foolish to think that social media is doing a disservice to the car community. There's no way that a brand, a company would want to say, hey, let's ditch social media. It's not working for us. It's not bringing in what we want it to bring in. The reality is, while they may have lost out on Sunday's event, the name becomes synonymous with what happens. And some people are firm believers in that any publicity, good or bad, is good publicity. So if you were to say, hey, let's do away with social media in the car community, which isn't real, but how would you share your event? If you're looking to host a car meet or whatever the case might be, how would people find out about it without social media? I highly doubt y'all have each other's phone numbers and send text threads and any of that. Like, I highly doubt that's what's happening. Some of you don't know each other's names. Some of you only know each other by the car that you drive. So the reality is for you to simply think that, hey, the way we can prevent what happened in Sayersville from happening again is by removing social media from the car community. No, that's not realistic. Social media is here to stay. It has been here. The only problem with social media is that people get to misbehave without being checked. A lot of you have done things and shows that no one's questioned your behavior. There are no consequences for your behavior. Some of you kids haven't been punched in the face, and it shows. Um, I don't know why you guys think it's okay to behave like this. At events that I've been to, I've seen the young kids look to egg drivers on to do something stupid. It's up to that driver to say no. Who cares how this kid who has no sweat equity in things, who cares what their opinion may be? Like, oh, so what? You didn't rev it for the kid that's at the entrance saying rev it, rev it, rev it. Come on, be responsible. Realize that this car, this vehicle, truck, whatever, motorcycle, bike, car, it doesn't matter. This thing, if gone sideways, can cause a bigger issue than it's worth. I've seen a few accidents that also took place down in Sayersville or in the surrounding areas in the mountains. When there's a lot of people, when there's more people, there's a higher level for something to go wrong, whether it be someone simply having an accident and accidentally doing something or someone intentionally doing something. The numbers are just aren't on your side when more people are involved. So no, I don't feel that social media and removing social media from the mix is the resolution. Someone said, oh, the best fix for this would be to make the events private. Okay, so again, without you knowing certain people or who drives what or anything like this, how would you meet these people? How would you host a private event and get people to come to this event without social media being able to spread the awareness of the event? Now, if you, let's say 10 people, the 10 of you have nice cars, you want to host a private meet, those 10 people might invite 20, 30 people. And again, you might have a calm little night, whatever the case might be, but there is a part of this that people look for, that wow factor of a car they've never seen before coming out. And the only way that happens is if there's some way for them to get access to that information. Can you maybe find a way to better protect that information? Sure, 100%. Could you possibly look to have some discernment in how you run your events? 100%. Here, when we host events, myself and my team are actively watching and listening to what's going on. Are we going to sit there and be on top of anyone and everyone who does a little rev when they pull in or anything like that? No. But if you are someone who is going to be disrespectful to the meet, someone is going to show up and have a conversation with you. Is it a threat? No, not at all. Listen, I get it. You want people to hear your car, but this isn't the place for that. There are things in play that you may not be aware of, and there's a reason why we're asking you not to rev. There are places where that type of behavior is welcomed and allowed. Wait for that time to take place. So now, if you think that hosting private events is the answer to prevent things like what happened in Sayreville from happening, because I really wouldn't say it was full on take over behavior. It was more so mob mentality than anything else. So you have a mob of people. You have a group of people who are unruly, who necessarily may not be not listening to what's being said, because you don't really see or haven't really heard much stories of someone saying, hey, I asked this guy not to do XYZ and they did it anyways. But the reality is, if the people that are attending this event, if everybody has the same mentality and we're like, hey, don't do this, let's not do this, that, and the third, the outcome may be different, but everyone's afraid to do that. I had a conversation with a guy one time. He was at one of our events. He's like, oh, it wasn't us, it was this guy over here. And I said, well, the reality is, dude, me and my team can't be everywhere all at once. Just like you're here to enjoy the vibes at this meet, so am I. So if the person that's next to you is revving their car or doing something that we don't want to be happening, and mind you, on every flyer for every event we do, no burnouts, no donuts, no excessive revving, no excessive loud music on every flyer we've ever done. So if you've seen the flyer, that means you're aware of the things that we may expect from the people attending the event. So now that you're at this event and you see someone doing that, I said to the dude, I said, bro, if you see it, why not just tell them to chill? They don't do that here. Nah, I just mind my business. I don't want to get involved. Because if I'm not trying to, I'm on papers, I'm not like, what are you talking about? I didn't ask you to go fight this guy. I said, just tell them simply, they don't do that here. And in the instances that I've seen where people have kind of calmly and collectively asked someone not to do something, 99.9%, actually, I'm not even going to do that. 100% of the time, I've been involved in asking someone not to do something. The situation has not escalated to violence in any way, shape, and form. And I continue to hope that that isn't how all conversations go. But someone looking to start a fight because you asked them not to rev their car seems wildly imaginable. Now, I've also seen certain groups have security at their events, and when you look to have like security at your event, it kind of gives off this vibe that security is there to be disrespectful and rude and kind of has carte blanche to be aggressive with anyone doing something that they shouldn't be. And I don't think that that's how things should go. I don't feel like the over aggression in the security role is what's needed. I don't think that that's the best route to go either. Simply just, hey, have a conversation and kind of go from there. Now, what has someone that you've asked to do something refused to do it? Not necessarily refused, but kind of taken their time. There was a kid that we hosted a meet at a local gas station. This kid in the trucks parked at the pumps. I'm like, all right, we're asking everybody, because the owners of the gas station asked us not to let people park at the pumps. I said, no problem, we got you. So at any point in time, people are parked at the gas pumps, wait to see if they're getting gas. Kids sitting there 5-10 minutes. I said, all right. I sent someone from my team over to say, hey, we can't have anyone sitting at the pumps. He goes, oh, okay, I'm moving it. Right? I watched the interaction. He doesn't move. So now I go over there. I said, listen, bro, we need you to move. We can't have people parked at the pumps. It's just the what the owners want. They don't want anybody parked at the pumps. He said, oh, okay, my bad, bro. I'll move. Still didn't move. So at that point, I asked a couple more members of the group to come with me to have another conversation with them. Same thing. Oh yeah, I'm gonna move. I said, no, you told me that already, and you told someone else that. I need you to move now. He's like, all right, and then he ended up moving. But I didn't have to call him out of his name. I didn't have to threaten any violence. Like there's steps to kind of have conversations and deal with matters without it escalating. You do not have to resort to violence in every single situation. You don't have to be like, oh, I'm gonna just pick someone up. Like you don't got to do all that. You know what I mean? And if things continue to escalate, then by all means get the police involved if you have to. You have to gauge the situation and get the best outcome possible for the situation that's happening. Every single scenario is different and it needs to be handled as such. Right? So back to Sayersville, Gatlinburg, or whatever you want to call it. In my opinion, no. Making the events surrounding Sayersville private would not have prevented what happened from happening. Now, I honestly feel like policing these events, whoever the host is, or whoever, I don't know who the host of or organizing all the cars going to Jimmy's. It may not have been a single person, whatever the case might be, but policing one another in the car community is super important. It seems like it's something to be lacking. Now, some older people may feel like, why should we have to do that? I don't know, because you are now facing a problem. You're now facing a problem that if you continue to let it fester and you ignore it, it turns into what happened. And a lot of times you guys are comfortable sitting back and being like, oh, look at this. This is crazy. There's definitely different levels to it. You have the person who will actively be looking to egg people on or actively look to wait for something to go left and participate, standing on stuff, climbing buildings like you saw in the video. That's one level of it. You have another level where They may not be as vocal, they may not participate, they may be the furthest way back, but they're still going to record and they're still not going to look to have conversation to tell people like, hey, we shouldn't be doing this. Then you have the other level of people who sit back, watch it all unfold and say, see, this is why we can't have nice things. And it's like, are you interested in being part of the reason why things like this don't happen? Do you not care? Like, to say that you're a car enthusiast and you're not looking to actively help prevent things like this from happening is kind of confusing. You know, if you really do care about how things unfold, then I think you would at least attempt to say, hey, just don't do that. We don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't that be the case? I think the predecessors before us had no issue doing that, so why should you? Um, it's there's got to be a resolution. I don't think it's a matter where you just kind of throw your hands up in the air and say, "Oh, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do." Now, again, I do know this event had been moved from Gatlinburg to Sayersville because of the issues that took place in Gatlinburg. Every event isn't like this. Sometimes certain events have a attraction matter to them where people look to say, listen, we want to do this. I want to be seen. I want to be seen. Personally, it was an event I wanted to attend. I wanted to be able to go to the show, see different builds. I'm someone who is super big on seeing things different from where I am here in the Hudson Valley, New York. So I'll go to Maryland. You know, I've been to Toronto. Um, Being able to see different builds outside of the Hudson Valley is something that I enjoy. So being able to go to Gatlinburg would have been something that I would have been able to enjoy because I'm seeing so much different things. Now, as someone who's also um, big on media, would have been nice to record videos, maybe do some interviews, all of that. That was the reason that I would have wanted to go. Now, someone said to me, well, aren't you happy that you didn't go? Um, no, because it was a missed opportunity. I wanted to go last year, couldn't go last year. Couldn't go this year. Now, missing out on the good sides of the things that may have happened, you know, the camaraderie of friends cruising through the mountains. I know driving the tail of the dragon is something that I want to do and hopefully get to do it soon. These are some of the things that you miss out on, you know. So it's not just clout chasing per se, it's experience chasing. I'm someone who likes to experience different things, so having the ability to go to Gat would have been able to share an experience on a positive note. I'm more than likely wouldn't have been at that gas station. That's just not me. It's not something I'm into. Looking to make um, connections and network with people are something that I'm way more interested in than anything else. So hopefully there is a revival story for Slammedenuff. I'm sure they'll keep moving and going to different cities. I would hate to see other cities get spooked by what's happened and it now impacts their business model. As someone who hosts events, I would hate to see that be changed by this. I know a friend who was trying to host a car show at the Newburgh Mall, take over kids, shut down the Mario Cuomo Bridge. The mall saw that. The mall then upped the insurance requirement for the car show to the point where he couldn't afford the insurance for the show and had to cancel the show. These are some of the things that happen from the behaviors of people who have no sweat equity in the game. You're now impacting people's business. You're now impacting people's ability to host events, people to make money. People, I'm sure, may have lost money. Let's say a vendor had put everything they had to get to Sayersville, and their only opportunity to make a profit would have been Sunday, the day that got canceled. That someone could have literally gambled their future on the success of being able to be a vendor at an event, and that got taken away from them, not because of something that they did, but because of the actions of other people. And that in life is probably one of the hardest things to deal with, is when your actions aren't the reason why something's happening, but someone else's actions beyond your control. It's probably one of the most helpless feelings out there in life, just because you can't do anything to change it. There's no conversation you can have, just right swept right from underneath you. So what can be done differently to look to say, well, zero tolerance policy. um if you're looking to, let's say your group, they make the adjustments that they need to make, and they're trying to go back to Sayersville. If you want to host a meet, tap in with the locals, bro. Tap in with the police, so that they have the resources on hand to make sure that things are managed. God forbid that someone had an emergency of some sort this past weekend, and all the resources were being hijacked to try and figure out what was going on at a gas station. It's unfair to a lot of people. What if someone, you know, life or death was on the line, based on response time, all these different things, just because you guys wanted to record a couple of videos in your phone? I just don't think you guys realize the magnitude of the ripple effect of your behavior, and you have to kind of look at it like, this isn't a mob. This isn't the things that they want. This is, no one wants this. There's a big difference between cruising down the strip and recording some videos, and having some fun, between a mob taking over, and quite literally that's what happened. So I hope it doesn't happen again. I hope the car community can move forward, move past this. I implore you guys not to go the whole, well, let's privatize everything, because the the issue I have with private meets is just simply that, what if you have people who aren't problems? The group, you have a group of people who aren't causing problems. They're not a threat. They're not gonna invite problems to your event, but you may not know them, or they may not drive a certain car specifically, or whatever the case may be. So now this person or this group loses access to something that they otherwise would have had access to, simply because of what? And like I said, as a photographer, as someone who records media, I would hate to see a situation where I am unable to have access to something because of something I didn't even do. Now, had I been a problem, I get it, access revoked. But as someone who's contributing in a positive way, we do giveaways, and try to give back to the community. We hosted a backpack giveaway. It would be blasphemous to be like, yeah, nah, Sakudo can't come because they're a problem. And it's like, that's not the case. I literally know certain groups that are about the takeover behaviors, that they go to property and they do donuts and they damage property. Some of them have been arrested for the stuff that they've done. So you got to ask yourself, what's your goal? If you're looking to do private stuff, what's your goal? Is your goal to kind of split the community and look at it and say, oh, look who can't come, ha 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 ha? Or is it, you're really doing it to protect the sanctity of the car community? If you are looking to protect the sanctity of the car community, then look to tap in with the people who have the best interests of the car community involved. I hate to see scenarios where people don't tap in with certain people just because of bullshit politics. The shit is corny. So, if that's how you move and that's how you operate, that's how you move, that's how you operate. But again, hopefully there were, anyone who was injured or hurt has a speedy recovery. I don't know if anyone lost their lives, but thoughts and prayers to all parties involved. You know, hopefully this doesn't happen again. We don't have a scenario where this becomes a stain on the car community, because there are going to be a lot of people who say, "Look, see, I told you this is not it. We have to disassociate ourselves from the car community." So I wish everyone the best. Catch you guys next time. Peace.